Hello, I'm Mrs. Irvin, and I wanted to check in with you now that it's winter time. There is so much going on outside, and it is kind of amazing. If you look out there, things do look quite different. For example, the trees that used to be covered with leaves, many of them are bare right now. You might have seen woodchucks in the fall eating and running around your yard, and now they don't seem to be around anymore. What happened to them? What happened to the woodchucks? I'm wondering about the monarch butterflies. They used to be flying around. They were landing in my garden, on the flowers in the spring, and even into the early fall, I would see them flying around. Where are they now? What happens to the insects in winter? So I'd like to explore a little bit. There's really so much to see outside, even when there's no snow on the ground. So we're going to learn a little bit more about winter, and you're going to help me because you are going to learn as well. You're going to explore your yard and maybe report in about what you're seeing. So we're all going to work together to learn as much as we can about this time, because we're actually going to, in just a couple months, it's going to be spring, and a lot of exciting things are going to happen during that season as well. So we want to really look at how things look right now and then see how things change as we move into the spring. So one important thing before you ever go outside is to check with your parents, because it's very cold and often in the winter, and it can be dangerous. So if you are not prepared, so I'm going to talk about how to be prepared. So the first thing is to talk to your parents and to ask them if they'd like to come out and explore along with you, or if they have any rules about you going outside in the wintertime. So check with them. And then you want to make sure you have the proper gear, so the proper equipment. And here's the first thing. I'm going to wear this shirt, but then I want to put a sweater over it. So I've got my nice warm sweater I'm bringing with me. I want to also cover up my neck when I'm outside. So I've got like a neck gaiter or neck warmer. And I actually have a scarf. So I don't know, today I think I'll wear the scarf. So one or the other works well. You want to just kind of cover up your skin when it's real cold and windy. And today is very cold and windy at my house. So I also have a hat that I'll wear. This will cover up my head and keep me warm. And some gloves. You might even put snow pants on. And then I want to put a coat on. Let's look at this coat. Oh, is this a good winter coat? This is my summer coat, and I don't want to wear that today. But it's interesting because I actually have a winter coat, and I'm going to wear this winter coat. And I've got a summer coat and a winter coat. And this is something we might talk a little bit about, is that animals have a summer and a winter coat. They don't look like this, but maybe you know a little bit more about that. So we're going to explore outside, just look at a few things today, and give you some ideas for some things that you might want to think about, observe, write about, and learn about. Great. All right, so come join me. I'll get ready, and I'll bring you along on my adventure. All right, so I've bundled up and I'm outside, and I've come up the road to an important friend I want you to meet. This is Toma, and he's one of my walking buddies, and we're going to go out and explore the woods here in Madbury. So Toma and I've got my daughter Alana, and we're going to go and explore. And I'm taking a closer look. I'm looking down at my feet in the path, and I'm noticing all of these pine cones. They're covering the ground. There weren't any back there by the field, but they're these beautiful pine cones. I think I'm going to collect a couple and take them home and study them some more. And now I'm looking down again, and I notice a puddle that has some really cool designs in it. I see some leaves and pine needles that are frozen right into it, some air bubbles, and it really looks quite beautiful. And normally, I may have just walked right by this puddle, but today I'm trying to take a closer look. And as we walk deeper into the woods, I notice that some of the beech trees have not lost their leaves. Their leaves are still clinging to the branches, even though it's close to the end of January. So that's another thing I'm going to wonder about, and something I'm learning about winter. And as we round a corner, I notice a hole on the side of a hill right next to our path. It looks like an animal may have made it. So I'm taking a picture and writing down a few notes, and when I get back home, I'll try to learn a little bit more about what might be living there. And in this part of the woods, I'm seeing a whole different kind of cone. This real small cone. So I'm going to take one of those home and learn more about that as well. I'm noticing the trees that are near these little cones look like they're hemlocks. They have very short needles. And it's a little hard to see, but on the back of these needles are 2 white stripes. Another sign that it's a hemlock tree. One of the coniferous or evergreen trees that's in our area. And right near where the larger pine cones are these evergreen trees with long needles. This is a white pine tree. And you can see up close that a white pine usually has 5 needles in a cluster. So if you're ever wondering, you can pull a cluster off or hold it closely and count, and if it has 5 needles, it is probably a white pine. And here's the pine cones that go with that tree. And here are a few of the artifacts or objects I decided to bring home to study a little bit more from my winter walk with Alana and Toma. You don't always have to bring things home, but sometimes in the winter I think it's kind of fun to take a closer look at things, and bringing it home in a warm house and being able to sketch or write or discuss something can really help. When you go outside, you might at first think there's nothing to see, but take your time and look at the puddles and look at the smaller things at your feet. Maybe look for some homes where animals might live or any signs of animals. And I'll be back next week to talk a little bit more about winter discoveries that I'm making, and I hope I hear from you too. So enjoy your time with your family and enjoy time outside in winter.